The Accelerator, the strongest tower in the entire game, only rivaled by the likes of Mech Base and the occasional game-breaking bug. The Accelerator has proven itself as a great tower. Even at its weakest points, it was still considered a meta tower. But first, make sure to check out my shoulder pal. This sinister buddy only costs 20 Robux to buy, and will help fund my undying addiction to event towers. The link to the shoulder pal is in the description. So let's talk about the entire history of this overpowered tower. On July 22nd, 2020, the Accelerator, alongside the Hacker Tower, the Engineer and Mech Base were first teased in this image, showing all the upcoming hardcore towers that were going to be added in the update. But the hardcore beta update wouldn't come out for another month. The update would be released on August 28th, 2020. Alongside the multiple bugs the update faced, there was also a noticeable disappearance of the Engineer and Hacker Tower, which still weren't added to the game. Only Accelerator and Mech Base were actually introduced into the game. But the Mech Base would later be removed during the overhaul due to being extremely overpowered. Even if not as overpowered as Mech Base, Accelerator was still the second strongest tower. It was even stronger than Outlaw and Golden Minigunner combined in terms of damage per second. What made this tower unique from any other tower was how it did a random amount of damage, which could heavily make its damage per second go from 235 in best case scenario to 170 damage per second at worst case scenario, which averaged out to 201 damage per second. Accelerator may have seemed extremely strong, but keep in mind this tower was extremely affected by the rate of fire bug. In fact, it made the Accelerator lose a whopping 120 damage per second from 322 damage per second to 201 damage per second. Accelerator would also receive its first skin in the Hazmat Accelerator, but due to the multiple bugs of the hardcore beta testing, this skin concept would be deleted from the game shortly after. While Accelerator would stay unchanged stat-wise for about another year, on July 4th, it would receive the fan-favorite Mage Accelerator skin. On December 4th, it would receive the Eclipse Accelerator skin, which is obtained from rank 11 of the Solar Eclipse Battle Pass. On February 13th, 2022, it would gain the new Cupid Accelerator skin, which was obtained from rank 6 of the Valentine's Battle Pass, or obtained from the lovely crate when it returned in Valentine's 2023. On March 12th, 2022, the rate of firebug's heavy effect on the Accelerator would be lightened by an Accelerator rework. They made Accelerators tick about 2 times slower, but heavily increased the damage. While this did make the rate of firebug way less severe, it still had a major effect of Accelerator as it still weakened Accelerator by around 50 damage per second. It still made Accelerator way better than it was previously with an increase of 60 damage per second. But the rate of firebug fix had to be reverted to unpatched, because it literally broke the game. So, on December 21st, 2022, the Accelerator's tick fire rate would be increased from 0.05 tick to 0.108 tick, which heavily nerfed the Accelerator but made the fire rate bug less severe. This was the weakest state Accelerator was in. Engineer would surpass it as the strongest tower in the entire game. And with the Pursuit and Ranger getting massive buffs, they even start to replace Accelerator in strategies. So on May 5th, 2023, Accelerator would receive another massive rework. Not only was the design of Accelerator completely overhauled, 4 new Accelerator skins were added to the game. The Hazard Accelerator would make a return, and the Red, Navy, and Ducky Accelerator skins were also newly introduced. Not only was Accelerator changed in terms of cosmetics, it would no longer do random amounts of damage, and its damage was increased to 50. Its range would also be buffed by 2.5 from 20 range to 22.5 range. The Accelerator would also gain the new mechanic of overcharging, which would make it stop shotting after it reached 3,000 damage. The Accelerator's damage per second was increased by 80 damage per second from the average. It even does more damage per second than old Accelerator's maximum damage per second. Overall, how do you feel about Accelerator's rework? Do you think it's too overpowered? Should it be nerfed? Or should it stay the same? Feel free to leave your opinions in the comments below, and please consider subscribing if you've watched up to this point.